Have you ever wondered why your relationships keep falling apart? There's an answer, and it started long before you were ever adulting. What if they're not failing because you're broken or you're doing it wrong, but because you were taught a version of love that was never actually yours to begin with? Sit with that for a second. A version of love that never belonged to me? Yeah, and here's why. See, most people think they learn love from dating or heartbreak or the first person that gave us butterflies. But that's not where love starts. We learn love way earlier. Before our first crush, before we could even describe how we felt, before we even knew the language for connection. We learned it from the people who raised us. And not because they were perfect or terrible, but because as kids we absorbed everything. How they talk, how they argue, how they forgave, how they shut down, how they handled emotions, and most importantly, how they handled us. So you have to ask yourself, if that's where love begins, is it any surprise that some of my relationships feel familiar? But here's the truth. Your adult relationships, they aren't brand new. They're repeats, they're sequels to a story you didn't write, but somehow you keep showing up for. And today we're going to talk about why that is. When a relationship ends, you just don't feel heartbroken, you feel defective. And you sit there thinking, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? But is that really what's happening? Or is there something deeper going on? Because when you keep choosing people who can't show up for you, or people who run the moment you get close, or maybe people who want you until you want them back, you start to think, well, it's karma. This is my destiny. I attract these type of people. It's a curse. It's a pattern that I can't break free from. But here's the deal. You're not struggling because you're unlovable. You're struggling because the way you connect now was shaped by how you connected as a child. And if no one ever told you that or explained that to you, of course, you blame yourself. And you're carrying wounds that really you shouldn't be carrying anymore. Let me ask you something. When you cried as a child, what happened? If you can even think back that far. Because that moment, it matters more than you think. So picture this scenario. A child is crying softly. They're not screaming, they just need comfort. And someone walks in, they pick up the child, and they say, hey, I'm here. That child's nervous system learns when I reach out, someone reaches back. Love is safe, connection is reliable, and I matter. Now picture a different child. When they cry, no one comes. Or maybe they come unpredictable. Or maybe they come angry. Or sometimes they say, stop being dramatic, you're fine, even though the child isn't. So the child learns, I have to work for closeness. Love comes and goes. I need to calm myself. No one else is coming. And here's the kicker. Those lessons, they don't just stay in your childhood. They become the rules your nervous system uses. And psychiatrist Amir Levine, he popularized these patterns in a book called Attached, labeling them attachment styles. And there's three main styles: secure, anxious, and avoidant. But really, all they are is patterns and just survival strategies. So let me give you some examples. The first one is the anxious. You're texting someone. You really like this person. It's consistent, and then suddenly, it's not. The replies get shorter, and you think their responses are colder, and they respond slower, and your stomach drops, and your mind goes into this micro spiral. And you reread every text, and you're like, well, what did I do wrong? What did I say? Why? Because your body learned that closeness is fragile, and you fear that love could be lost, and so you chase connection before it disappears. And it's not because you're needy, but because your nervous system remembers inconsistency better than it remembers peace. So, is that anxiety, or is that just history? The second pattern, this is the avoidant. Picture someone who finally meets a person that communicates well, someone who actually wants them, and they show up consistently. At first, it feels great, and then suddenly, it starts to feel like pressure. They need space, they get irritated, they find flaws that didn't exist last month. It's the same person doing the same thing. Why? Because closeness feels like danger, and it's suffocating. And vulnerability feels like letting go, and they have to trust way more than they want. In intimacy, it feels risky, so they pull back. And it's not to hurt the other person, but to protect themselves. So, are you pulling away because they're wrong for you, or because closeness feels unfamiliar? And then there's the secure. They can get close without losing themselves. They can argue without fearing abandonment. They can be vulnerable without shutting down or clinging. And it's not because they're perfect, but because they learned early, my needs matter, people show up, and connection is safe. But here's the twist. Anyone can become secure. Security isn't inherited, it's learned. And if it can be learned, it can be relearned. If your attachment pattern was created in childhood, why would it magically disappear in adulthood? It doesn't. So this is why you keep choosing similar people. Your nervous system gravitates to what it knows. If you grew up in chaos, calm feels off. Consistency feels suspicious. Safety feels boring. And if you grew up with distance, closeness feels suffocating. Intimacy feels risky. And good partners feel untrustworthy. But you're not broken, you're patterned. Here's the good news. Patterns aren't destiny, they're habits, and habits can be rewritten. Here are some questions you can ask to shift your attachment patterns. The first one is, does this person make me feel safe, or do I feel activated around them? Do you feel comfortable in your own skin? Do you feel like you're at peace? Do you feel like you're really connecting? Or do you feel like you're performing, like you have a mask on, or like something's constantly wrong and you feel on edge around that person? You need to pay attention to these things. They matter. The next one is, what do I need when I feel activated, insecure, or emotionally overwhelmed? Do I need to hear something? Do I need to see something? Do I need to get something? What do I need in that moment to calm me so that I can move from these feelings into a place of security, safety, and connection? And the next one is, how can I communicate what I need when I feel activated, insecure, and emotionally overwhelmed? How can I communicate these things to my significant other or to my partner? How can I explain what I need so that we can work through these things together as a team and move from a place of anxiety, emotional overwhelm, lack of connection to peace and connection? And the next one is, what boundaries can I create for a safer relationship in the future? So if you're someone who's prone to being activated in certain situations because of your past trauma, what boundaries can you put in place to help you avoid those situations in the future so that you can show up as the best version of yourself? Because once you experience real emotional safety, you will never want chaos again. See, your relationships, they aren't failing because you're bad at love. They're failing because you've been using a blueprint from a life you've already outgrown. But now you see the truth, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. You can choose differently. You can choose connection over chaos. You can choose someone who meets you where you are, not someone who activates your wounds you're trying to heal. You can rewrite your attachment story, and when you do, everything changes. So tell me, what pattern are you finally ready to let go of? Leave it in the comments below. I'm Brennan. This is Life Unscripted Adulting Uncovered. Remember, you don't need perfect love. You just need an honest connection. Catch you next time.